After the age of 65, time begins to whisper in a different language. It's no longer counted in calendars or clock hands, but in the quiet, ordinary moments of the day. Waking up early without an alarm, a breeze slipping through the open window, the slow, steady steps taken around the garden, and somewhere in those still moments, a gentle question begins to stir. How much time do I have left to enjoy these simple things? My name is Dr. Elliott. I've spent over 40 years in medicine, and throughout that journey, I've had the privilege of walking beside so many people, from children taking their first steps to elders who've overcome illness with a kind of resilience no medical textbook can fully explain. But there's one thing I learned early on. After a certain age, people don't come to the doctor just for numbers on a chart. They come because deep down they're asking, is my body still okay? Am I aging well? Do I still have time to truly live? And here's what I want you to know from the heart of someone who spent decades listening. Your body is always answering you, not with words but with subtle signs, often too quiet to notice unless you're really paying attention. It might be in how easily you rise from a chair, how deeply you sleep through the night, how clearly you remember an old friend's name, or how much you still look forward to a simple breakfast. These small things are the body's gentle way of speaking to you. Today, I want to share with you 7 quiet signs, signals that science has come to recognize as powerful, reliable indicators of how long and how well we may live. These signs go beyond genetics or luck. They speak to the quality of your remaining days, and perhaps the choices you can still make to shape them. Because longevity isn't the end goal. Living deeply, living well, and staying connected, that's what gives time its meaning. So, I invite you to settle in. If you've chosen to watch this video, chances are, somewhere in your heart, you've been asking the same quiet question as millions of others in your stage of life. And I want you to know, you're not alone in that journey. Now, let us begin. Let's listen to what your body may already be trying to say, starting with the very first step. Sign 1. Your walking speed remains strong and steady. Let me tell you something many people don't realize. One of the clearest, most powerful indicators of your future health isn't hidden in a lab test or under a microscope. It's in your walk. Yes, the simple act of putting one foot in front of the other. The rhythm, the steadiness, the way your body moves through the world. It tells us far more than you might expect. And as a doctor, I've learned to watch that closely. Not just how fast someone walks, but how they walk. Is there confidence in the step? Do they hesitate at curbs or doorways? Do they slow down halfway down the hallway to catch their breath? You see, walking speed reflects far more than leg strength. It speaks to the harmony between your heart, your lungs, your muscles, and perhaps most importantly, your brain. It's the orchestra of the body playing in sync. When that rhythm falters, it often means that somewhere inside, a system is struggling to keep up. I remember a patient of mine, Walter, 74, who walked his golden retriever every morning, rain or shine. He didn't power walk or jog, but there was a quiet liveliness in his stride. He didn't shuffle, he didn't pause. He walked like someone who had somewhere to be, not in a rush, but with purpose. One day a neighbor said to him, "You don't walk like a man your age." He chuckled, waved it off, but when I saw him later that week, I told him, "Walter, that compliment may have said more than you realize." Because study after study confirms it, older adults who maintain a brisk, steady walking pace tend to live longer and age more gracefully, not because walking fast makes you immortal, but because the body's ability to walk well reflects its overall resilience. When you slow down, and I mean truly slow down, not just taking a leisurely stroll, it can signal cardiovascular issues, balance problems, early neurological decline, or even subtle signs of depression. But here's the good news. Walking speed is something you can build back. You don't need fancy equipment or expensive treatments. You need gentle commitment. Start by using the stairs when you can. Strengthen your legs with simple exercises, even standing from a chair without using your hands. Go outside, feel the ground under your feet, and walk with attention. Every step you take is a message to your body that says, I'm still here, I'm still strong. So if you still walk with ease, if your stride feels steady, don't overlook that. It's not just a habit, it's a sign. Your body is telling you, I've still got energy left in me. And if you've noticed your pace beginning to change, don't ignore it. That's your invitation. Start small, but start today, because how you walk now may be one of the simplest, most honest clues about how far and how fully you'll walk into the years ahead. Sign 2. You can balance on one leg for at least 10 seconds. Now this next one might surprise you. It's not flashy, it's not high-tech, but it's one of the most revealing indicators of how well your body is aging, and how well it might continue to protect you in the years to come. It's your ability to simply stand on one leg. That's right, just one. No fancy equipment, no stress tests, just you, your body, and the quiet strength it holds. Can you stand barefoot, arms relaxed at your sides, and lift one foot off the ground? For 10 seconds. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But what it requires is anything but. To balance, truly balance, your muscles, nervous system, inner ear, and brain must all coordinate, seamlessly, silently. When you can hold yourself upright with calm, it means your body is still communicating well within itself. But when something is off, when you feel wobbly, unsure, or need to reach for a chair, your body may be telling you that its inner alignment is starting to drift. I remember a patient named Arthur, 77, retired engineer, quiet man. During a routine visit, I asked him to try the one-leg test. He smiled, amused, and gave it a try. A little wobble at first, but he steadied himself. No chair, no help. 10 seconds, no problem. I nodded and told him, that little test you just passed, it may be one of the strongest indicators of how well your body's holding up. He looked at me, a bit puzzled, but that night, he told me later, he started thinking about it. Friends his age had fallen. One broke a hip, another never quite recovered. He hadn't thought of balance as survival, but it is. Because after a certain age, a fall isn't just a fall. It can be the beginning of a decline that's hard to reverse. And yet, there's something beautifully hopeful about balance. It can be rebuilt. Yes, even in your 70s or 80s, your brain and body are still listening, still learning, just a few minutes a day. Standing on one leg near the kitchen counter, practicing heel to toe walking down the hallway, joining a gentle Tai Chi or yoga class, can make a remarkable difference. And it's not just about not falling. It's about moving through the world with confidence again, feeling centered, feeling steady not just in body, but in spirit. So, if you can balance on one foot for 10 seconds without holding on, take a moment to honor that. That's not just good luck or strong ankles. That's your entire body telling you we're still in sync, we're still strong. And if you can't just yet, don't worry. That's not a failure, it's a beginning. A quiet invitation to pay closer attention, to reawaken what may have been resting too long. Because growing older doesn't mean losing your balance. It means learning how to find it again. One breath, one step, one moment at a time. Sign 3. Your grip is still strong and steady. It may seem like a small thing, how firmly you hold a cup, twist the lid off a jar, or shake someone's hand, but your grip tells a much deeper story than most people realize. As a doctor, I've learned to pay attention to those little details, the quiet ones. Not because I'm searching for weakness, but because your grip is one of the clearest reflections of what's happening underneath the surface, deep in your muscles, your nerves, your bones, and even your heart. There's something profoundly honest about the hands. They don't pretend. They don't mask fatigue the way our smiles sometimes do. When your grip begins to weaken, it's rarely sudden. It's gradual, a quiet slipping away of strength that often goes unnoticed until something simple becomes difficult. Maybe it's carrying grocery bags, or holding on to the dog's leash, or lifting your grandchild for just a moment longer than usual. That subtle struggle, that fleeting sense of strain, It's your body's way of whispering, "I need attention." I remember Henry, a 70-year-old with a warm laugh and a habit of bringing pickles to his appointments because, as he put it, they remind me of simpler times. One day he confessed it had taken him 3 tries to open the jar, not painful, just harder than it used to be. A few weeks later, playing with his granddaughter, he realized he couldn't hold her up the way he once did. When we measured his grip strength with a small device, the drop was clear. Not dramatic, but real. He wasn't sick. He wasn't frail. But his hands were telling a quiet truth. The foundation of his physical strength was beginning to shift. What's remarkable and reassuring is that grip strength has been linked time and again to longevity. Studies show that the stronger your grip, the more likely your cardiovascular system is working well, the more efficiently your nerves are firing, and the more your body is able to resist illness and injury. And conversely, a declining grip often points to muscle loss, reduced bone density, and a body that may be losing its resilience more quickly than we'd hope. But, and this is what I always tell my patients, strength can be rebuilt. That's the beautiful part. Even if your hands feel weaker than they once did, even if twisting a doorknob feels more effortful these days, you are not stuck. Your body is adaptable even now. A tennis ball in the drawer, light hand weights by the TV, push-ups against the wall while the kettle boils. These aren't just exercises. They're reminders to your body that you still believe in it. They tell your muscles, your nerves, your very cells, we are not done yet. So if your grip remains strong, if you can open that stubborn jar, carry a full bag, or offer a handshake that still feels sure, take a quiet moment to appreciate it. Not out of vanity, but out of awareness. That strength is not trivial, it's not small, it's the visible thread of something much deeper, still intact inside you. And if you've noticed a shift, if something feels just a little off, don't brush it aside, don't wait for it to worsen. Respond gently, steadily, like someone planting seeds with patience. Because sometimes the way you hold on to the world, a railing, a child's hand, the weight of your own independence is exactly the same as the way you're still holding on to life itself. Sign 4, you wake up feeling rested most days. Sleep is one of those mysterious gifts we don't truly appreciate until it starts slipping away. In youth, we treat it as an afterthought, a luxury, even something we can cheat without consequence. But after 65, sleep becomes something else entirely. It becomes sacred. Not just as a way to restore energy, but as a mirror of how well your body is still functioning and how gently it is aging beneath the surface. If you find yourself waking up most mornings feeling clear, calm, and genuinely rested, not just not tired but truly restored, that, my friend, is a quiet miracle. That means your internal systems, your heart, your hormones, your immune function, even your brain's ability to flush out toxins are still working in harmony while you sleep. I've seen so many older adults shrug off poor sleep as something normal, something inevitable, like gray hair or wrinkles. They say, that's just part of getting old, right? But I gently remind them, no, it's not just age, it's information. Your sleep quality is your body's overnight report card. When sleep becomes fragmented, when you wake frequently, or when you spend the whole night in bed and still rise feeling like you never truly drifted off, that is not just exhaustion. That is your body telling you something's out of sync. I remember Frank, 68 years old, retired carpenter, the kind of man who never took a nap in his life. For years, he prided himself on getting by with 5 hours of sleep, coffee in one hand, stubbornness in the other. But once he retired, and life slowed down just enough for him to listen to his own body, he began to notice something. The mornings were heavier. His mood was flatter. His knees ached more than usual, and the simplest things felt like chores. At first he thought it was just part of aging, but eventually he decided to make a few small changes. He stopped drinking caffeine in the late afternoon. He went to bed earlier, without the television blaring in the background. Most importantly, he stepped outside every morning to let the sunlight hit his face. No rush, no distractions. Within a few months, something shifted. He started waking up before the alarm, refreshed, without the cloudiness that used to linger. His blood pressure evened out. His energy returned, and the stiffness that used to greet him every morning slowly began to fade. That's what sleep can do. It may not feel dramatic, but it is quietly transformative. And the beauty is, good sleep is not a lost cause. Even if you've struggled with it for years, your body is still capable of recalibration. Gentle habits can reshape your internal rhythm, dimming the lights earlier, putting away screens, sipping a warm tea before bed, creating rituals that signal to your body, it's time to rest now. So if you wake up most days feeling truly rested, I hope you don't take that for granted. That is not just luck or genetics. That is a sign of deep internal wellness. It means your body is healing while you sleep, rebalancing itself for another day of life. And if you don't quite feel that way yet, if sleep has become a restless companion, don't despair. Begin where you are. One small change, one quiet evening, one promise to listen more closely to your body's nighttime needs. Because how well you rest tonight may very well shape how clearly you think, how freely you move, and how deeply you experience life 10 years from now. And that, in itself, is a kind of medicine no pharmacy can offer. Sign 5. You still enjoy regular meals with a steady appetite. There's something remarkably intimate about appetite, the way your body asks for nourishment, not just to survive, but to experience pleasure, warmth, and connection. After 65, many people begin to notice changes in their relationship with food. Meals feel more routine than joyful. Hunger fades, flavors dull, and slowly, without fanfare, the desire to eat, and by extension the desire to engage with life, begins to slip away. But when someone still feels hungry at mealtimes, still looks forward to the aroma of toast in the morning or the comfort of a warm soup on a rainy afternoon, that's more than digestion. That's a quiet, beautiful sign of vitality. You see, appetite isn't just about calories or nutrition. It's a reflection of how your entire body, your hormones, your nervous system, your emotions, are still interacting in harmony. When your body signals hunger and your mind responds with interest, it means that something inside you is still turned toward life, not away from it. And that matters deeply. Because when appetite fades, when eating becomes mechanical or burdensome, it often hints at other imbalances, undiagnosed illness, low mood, medication side effects, even early cognitive decline. That's why I always ask my patients, not just are you eating, but do you still enjoy eating? The answer, more often than not, tells me more than a dozen lab results ever could. I think of Charles, 73, who came into my office one winter morning, cheerful as always. He told me about his breakfast routine: a fresh slice of mango, oatmeal with cinnamon, a small pot of coffee he brewed just the way he liked. Nothing extravagant. But the way he described it, with affection, with detail, made me smile. I told him, half joking, "Charles, your breakfast may be doing more for your health than any multivitamin." He laughed, but I meant it. That quiet enjoyment of food, that daily ritual, was a sign that his body and mind were still connected, still in rhythm with one another. But for many, appetite begins to retreat without much warning. Perhaps food no longer tastes the same. Perhaps chewing is harder. Perhaps they're eating alone, and the silence at the table becomes louder than any hunger they might have had. And over time, that disinterest turns into weight loss, muscle loss, and fatigue. It's a gentle unraveling, but one we must notice and respond to. Because eating well is not just about extending life, it's about preserving the quality of it. The energy to move, the strength to stand, the desire to wake up and say, "What's for lunch today?" The good news is, just like walking and balance and sleep, appetite can return, it can be nurtured. Simple walks can stimulate natural hunger. Sharing meals, even just once a week with a friend or neighbor, can awaken taste and joy. Adding herbs, trying new textures, even playing music during meals. These are small things, but they rekindle something ancient in us, the will to nourish ourselves. And sometimes something as small as treating dry mouth or improving the fit of dentures can bring food back to life again. So if you still look forward to your meals, if you eat with ease and find comfort in the flavors of the day, cherish that. You are feeding more than your body. You are feeding your sense of belonging in the world. And if that hunger has dulled, I urge you, don't accept it as the new normal. Listen to your body, ask it gently what it needs, and then offer it kindness, variety, and warmth. Because the desire to eat is not just a biological reflex, it's a declaration. It says, I am still here, I still want to live. And that, to me, is one of the strongest signs of all. Sign 6. You handle stress calmly without overreacting. There's a quiet power in the way a person responds to stress. Not the kind of power that shouts or takes control of a room, but the kind that steadies the air around them, like an anchor beneath rough waters. As we grow older, stress doesn't necessarily disappear. The world still surprises us, things still go wrong, pipes burst, loved ones disappoint us, health throws curveballs. But what often changes, and what I believe may be one of the most profound indicators of how long and how well someone will live, is how we choose to meet those moments. You see, the ability to stay calm in the face of adversity is not just a matter of personality, it's physiology. It means that your nervous system, the bridge between your mind and your body, still knows how to return to center. It means your heart rate can slow after it spikes, your breath can deepen after it quickens, your thoughts can soften after they race. And over time, that kind of emotional resilience becomes a shield, one that protects your blood vessels, your immune system, even your brain. I've seen it again and again. The ones who live longer are not the ones who avoid stress, but the ones who recover from it more gently. There was a man named Gerald who used to come to my clinic. Retired bus driver, widowed, a quiet soul who had known more loss than many. When he was younger, he'd fly off the handle at the smallest delay. His temper was quick, his words sharper than he meant them to be. But by the time he reached his 70s, something had shifted. I remember one visit in particular. He told me a pipe had burst in his kitchen, flooded the floor, ruined the cabinets. Years ago, he might have exploded, but this time, he said, I turned off the water, made some coffee, and called a plumber. Then he smiled and added, wasn't worth the heartburn. And I thought, yes, that smile, that breath, that choice not to panic, that's the body saying, we've learned something, we've grown. Because when you stop reacting to every stressor like it's a crisis, when you no longer feel the need to control every outcome or fix every imperfection immediately, your body thanks you. Your heart finds a steadier rhythm, your digestion settles, your sleep deepens, and most importantly, your inner world feels safer, not because the world is gentler, but because you are. This kind of calm can be cultivated. You don't need to meditate on a mountaintop or chant mantras at sunrise, though you certainly can if that speaks to you. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as taking 3 slow breaths before responding. Sitting outside for 5 minutes without a phone, saying to yourself, not everything needs an answer right now. These are small gestures, yes, but they create space between the event and your reaction, and in that space, healing lives. So if you've noticed that you no longer flare up as easily, that you pause before reacting, that you can let some things go without resentment clinging to your chest, that's not just emotional maturity, that's cellular wisdom. That's your body choosing preservation over panic. And if you're still quick to stress, still living with clenched teeth or a racing mind, know this: it is never too late to soften. The nervous system is not made of stone. It can relearn peace, moment by moment. Because longevity isn't about avoiding every storm. It's about learning how to walk through the rain without losing your footing, and perhaps even finding a kind of beauty in the puddles along the way. Sign 7. You stay mentally sharp and remember daily details easily. There's something quietly dignified about a sharp mind in later life. It's not always loud or showy. It's the way someone recalls a friend's birthday without checking the calendar, the way they follow a conversation without drifting, or how they remember not just what was said, but how it was said. Mental clarity at this stage isn't about intelligence or education. It's about connection, the ability of the brain to stay engaged, responsive, alive. And when I meet someone in their 70s or 80s who still remembers names with ease, manages their appointments, pays attention to detail, and continues to learn, I know I'm witnessing something rare and precious, a brain that is still very much awake to the world. Cognition isn't just about memory, it's about presence. And the older we get, the more meaningful that presence becomes. It's the ability to stay in the moment when you're talking with your grandchild, to track the flow of a story or a news article, to feel the continuity of your own thoughts. It's being able to tell your own story without losing the thread. And when that thread is intact, it often means that the deeper workings of the brain, blood flow, oxygenation, neural connectivity, are still strong. That's not something we can see with the naked eye, but we feel it in the ease with which someone engages with life. I think of Linda, 72, who came to me not because anything was wrong, but because she wanted to stay well. She kept a notebook with her, not out of forgetfulness, but because she loved learning new words, jotting down quotes, writing reflections. She still managed the family budget, led her book club, and somehow always knew what each of her grandchildren was up to. When I asked how she kept her mind so sharp, she said simply, "I stay curious." And I thought, what a beautiful philosophy. Curiosity, after all, is the engine of the mind. When we stop being curious, the world begins to shrink. But when we stay mentally engaged, even in small ways, the mind continues to grow roots and branches, no matter our age. The truth is, cognitive decline doesn't usually arrive all at once. It begins quietly, losing track of details, struggling for words, feeling a little foggy during the day, and those changes can feel frightening. But they're not always signs of something irreversible. Often they're invitations. Invitations to check in. Am I sleeping well? Am I moving enough? Am I socially connected? Am I challenging my brain with new information, new experiences, new ways of thinking? Because the brain, even a brain that has weathered decades, is capable of remarkable renewal. Simple, meaningful practices make all the difference. Reading something new every day, learning a language, even just a few phrases, walking outside and noticing what's changed since yesterday, having conversations that matter, eating in ways that nourish your brain, not just your belly. And most of all, staying socially and emotionally connected, because the mind, like the heart, withers in isolation. So if you still feel mentally clear most days, if you remember details, engage with ideas, and find yourself easily following the thread of your life, take a quiet moment to appreciate that. You are living proof that the brain, when respected and tended to, can remain a vital part of who we are for a very long time. And if you've noticed yourself slipping, don't be afraid, but don't ignore it. Instead, treat it as you would a beloved garden. Water it, walk through it, speak to it gently, give it light, because staying mentally sharp isn't just about memory, it's about meaning. It's about continuing to be here, truly here, for the people you love, the stories you carry, and the moments that still have yet to unfold. And now, as we bring this quiet conversation to a close, I want to leave you with something simple. Not a prescription, not a program, but a gentle truth. Your body is always speaking to you, not in the language of alarms, but in soft whispers, in the way you walk, the way you steady yourself, the way your fingers wrap around a cup, or your mind recalls a name, or your spirit seeks company after a long afternoon. These are not small things, they are sacred clues, each one pointing not just to how many years you may have left, but to how fully you're still able to live the ones ahead. If you recognized yourself in some of these signs, take heart. That is your body telling you, we are still strong, we are still capable, we are still here. And if some of these reflections stirred concern or awareness, that's not a cause for fear. That is a call to return. Return to presence, to small, loving actions, to quiet attention. Because most of what matters in aging well is not found in giant leaps, but in the small, repeated gestures that say, I'm still listening. Growing older is not a mistake. It is a becoming. A soft unveiling of the person you've always been beneath the rush of youth and the urgency of the world. And you deserve to move through this chapter, not with fear, but with grace. So take care of your steps, nourish your rest, tend to your thoughts, Keep reaching for the hands that matter, and above all, remember, it's not about how much time we have left. It's about what we choose to do with the time that remains. Thank you for letting me sit with you today. Until next time, walk gently, live wisely, and never stop listening to the wisdom already living inside you.